I have questions for you on that. But before we get to it, welcome on board, Bola.
Thank you, and it's nice to be here.
Thank you very much for joining. I know you're currently traveling, but I appreciate you joining from taking time from your busy schedule and just coming here to talk about reinventing your career in tech. I know the tech industry is currently booming. There are people that are even de-influencing tech as well. There's so many things to talk about. But before we get into it, I'll let you introduce yourself or cover anything that I have not said.
No, I think you did a good job in introducing me. My name is Bola. Currently, I lead an organization called Growth Inc. And what we do basically is support and empower professionals to their desired role. And we've been doing this actually for a bit. On a personal level, I've had the opportunity to work with a couple of organizations in consulting, Deloitte, Accenture, and all of those things. But right now, the next phase of my career is actually building the next generation of professionals.
That's amazing. Wow. I would like to learn more about all of these things that you're doing to help the next generation of professionals land their dream jobs and their career. Anyway, let's get into the topic of today. The reason I invited you here today is because I wanted us to discuss reinventing your career as an immigrant abroad. As we both know, we're both immigrants in Canada, though we are Canadian citizens now, but we are still immigrants. And we know that setting up your career in abroad is totally different from where we came from back home, where the industry is just different. Sometimes you even move somewhere else and you might have challenges with knowing what's in demand, what kind of job to do, what you even be pursuing, how should you even go about it? Are there certifications required? So these are some challenges that a lot of newcomers face when they move abroad. And I know the tech space is a booming industry, and I do know that you have a very significant knowledge and you've made huge impact in there. That's why I said, okay, I think you'd be the best person to cover this topic. So I'm glad to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. Um, the first question I have for you, don't worry, I'm not interviewing you. It's not going to be Q&A session where I'm interviewing you. I just want it to be more conversational where I can say something and you can respond back and tell me your ideas. Why do you think tech is currently like the hottest industry right now?
Um, I think that's just one reason. It's the fact that the world is becoming a global village. It's the fact that distance is no longer a barrier. It's the fact that the world is becoming just a small community. I give you an example. 10, 15, 20 years ago, you will have to literally travel to the US to take a US-based training. But right
Mhm.
now, you can do it from the comfort of your home.
True.
That has been made possible by the invention and the implementation of some technology platforms. Before now, you will have to go physically and pay or send a check. Now you don't need to do that anymore. You can pay for goods with your card, you can pay with your wallet, you can pay with coins. All of those platforms are enabled by technology. And the more global, the more digital, the more tech-enabled the world is, the more talent we need to sustain and to maintain that. And so that's really why, I think like there's a lot of opportunities now in tech than before.
Mm, that's really true. And I think that every industry, not industry specifically, but every company and even industry, they do require someone in the tech role. So for example, in the healthcare industry, they would still need someone in software engineering, they'll still need a project manager, they'll still need all of these things. So it's like tech is that role that you can work in different industry, diverse companies, different
Yes.
socioeconomic zone. So you can literally find a job in almost any company that relates to tech. That's also another reason why I think, and more these days with the development of things like AI, automation, robotics, all of that, it's making the tech industry even boom more and become like a hot topic out there. But I do know that not everybody has the interest or desire to want to be extremely or so technical when it comes to working in tech, like writing code, working as a software engineer or developer and all of that. And I'm just curious to know what your ideas are on how technical do you need to be in order to get a job working in tech? Do you need to know how to code? Do you need to be very technical? What do you think?
I think the tech space really is divided into two parts. There's the core technical tech, and then there's the soft tech. The core technical are the software developers, the programmers, the infrastructure engineers, the DevOps, and all of those things. And then the soft tech are the business analysts of this world, the project managers, the Scrum Master, the Agile coaches. Now, again, remember that we said the world is leveraging technology and the world is going digital. A lot of those things that will make the digital inclusion possible will require new initiatives and projects. And for that to be successful, they need the people who are going to write the instruction and do the programming and all of those things. They also need the soft guys, the guys who are going to manage the project, the guys who are going to ensure that everything works well, like the business analysts, the project managers, and all. So to answer your question, you can choose whichever one you want. If you want to be so technical, then you can go into the all technical space of tech. If you don't want to be technical, there's so many other roles, so many other opportunities that you can get in. You're literally supporting the folks who are doing the technical stuff.
That's really, really good. I'm glad you said there are so many because that's about to be my next question. What are some examples that you have? I know you've just mentioned project management, business analyst. What other ones are out there? And what do you Okay, let's take that first, then I'll talk about the salary.
So just as I said, there's a project management function.
What does a project manager do? Let's as we are saying each role, let's talk about what on a high level note, what would they expect to do on their day-to-day life?
Absolutely. So let's assume that we're creating another platform that will help to reach more people. The people who will write the instructions, and then there's a project management side. The project management side will require a project manager. So what will a project manager typically do? The project manager will be the single point of contact that will communicate with all of the several people that are involved in the project and all the stakeholders. It's the project manager that will ensure that the budget is created, the budget is managed, and the budget is controlled all through the project. It's a project manager that will keep everybody informed and involved in the project while they're doing that technical thing. Think about the project manager as a conductor of an orchestra. It's the person who knows that it's the alto guys to come in now, who knows it's now time to go down. The guys who are going down, the guys who are singing the alto and the soprano and all of that, they're doing that, but they just need someone to help to coordinate, just so that everything moves smoothly. They're the ones that will signal to the drum guys to say, okay, now it's time to take it down and all of those. And that's what a project manager typically does, coordinating and integrating all the several parts of the project to ensure that everything works well and all the engines are well oiled.
That's really good. Then the business analyst.
Yeah. So the ecosystem of a project involves the people who are delivering the work, and then the people who are going to use or consume the work. The people who are going to consume the work, we call them like stakeholders. And so many of them. All of the stakeholders have different needs, different expectations. We call them loosely requirements. It's the business analyst that's going to ensure that we, one, understand the needs, the problems of all of the stakeholders, collect their expectation, their need, define it in such a way that the developers, the technical guys will understand it. And some people call them the go-to between the business field folks and the technology folks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Business analyst, absolutely. There's also a lot of roles in Agile, like Scrum Master. Now, still on projects, but a lot of organizations are starting to warm up to the idea of not trying to finish everything all at once. Doing it small by small. When Facebook first came out in 2004, 2003, it came up with just few functionalities. But what Facebook is right now is not what it used to be last year.
Yeah, sure.
Years. So they keep improving, they keep adding new functionalities, new capabilities to the platform. Organizations have understood the need for that as well, and they have adopted a framework or a method called Agile. And for Agile to really work, they need like someone who will help the team to understand that framework. So that's what a Scrum Master typically will do. You can think about it as a project manager loosely, but in a different light.
That's really interesting. I know during COVID, companies were hiring for both project managers and scrum masters. But I feel like these days where a lot of companies are downsizing, they probably are condensing some of these roles together. I'm just thinking in my head. I don't know if that's the case, but
Yeah, absolutely. And I can speak to that a little. During COVID, movement was restricted. So the existence of human relied solely on the availability of technology.
sure.
And they needed so many people to help to work in implementing, maintaining, and supporting those technologies. So they kind of like hired a lot of people. Now people are going back in person to work and all. So they probably still need to do those things, but they don't need as many people. And they're looking for one person who can play two roles because of budget constraints and all of those things. Again, at no fault of the organization. It's just what it is. So and this is probably what we're going to talk about later. So if you're a project manager, for example, you also should understand what a Scrum Master does so that you can play both roles. If you're a Scrum, you
Sure.
should understand what a project manager does so that you can play both roles. If you're a business analyst, for example, you probably want to understand what project management is as well so that, you stay competitive in the books of the organization.
That is so true. That is so true. You want to be an asset on your team, that reliable person that they can go to for different tasks, different requirements, and it makes you indispensable if you can cover different things, as opposed to you just having like just one specific technical skill, such that if they need to lay off someone from the team, you might be the first that they would think about just because you're like, okay, you can only do this, but we have this other person that can do this, that, and those. So you want to be that person that can cover so many different things. You're so right about that. I know you've just mentioned business analyst, scrum master, project manager. Are there any other ones that you
Yes,
want to talk about?
product manager, product management.
Product man- I feel like after you explain what a product manager does, we also need to clarify the difference between a project manager and a product manager. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Um, a product manager is the CEO of a product. Think about it that way. And what they do is try to understand the market, try to understand the actors and the factors in the market, try to understand the pain points in the market, and then come up with a vision for a product that can solve that problem.
Mhm.
That's a product manager, right? They also do like, budgeting for pricing for the product. They do like go-to-market strategy and all of those things. Now, for that product idea, for that product vision to be converted to reality, they will need project management. So project management will make the product come to life.
That's
Product
amazing.
Product managers will determine what the product should be, the vision, the strategy of the product, by understanding the market, by understanding the space, and then they'll hand it over to project management. Now, project management will go into all of the things that they need to be able to create the product. And then once they create the product, it goes back to product management. And product management will release the product, will engage the users, launch and all of those things.
That's really totally different. But I do know that a lot of people confuse them. So is product manager also a non-technical role in tech?
A product manager doesn't necessarily have to be technical, but if they have technical awareness, if they have technical appreciation, it's good, but they don't necessarily have to be technical.
Okay.
They need to, more often than not, understand the gap in the market and the features that should be in the product than the
Mm,
qualities. But if you understand technical, like APIs and all of that, is good as well. But if you
okay.
don't, I think it's a limitation.
Okay. That's really good. I used to work as a business analyst, so I do understand the business analyst side
Mhm.
of this career. And I can tell you for a fact that there was never a time I had to write any code. Never.
Yes.
Um, the farthest I'll say I went was writing SQL codes, SQL queries, and they're not even code safe. SQL queries, that would be the farthest I ever did. And most times I had like my queries saved that I had to reuse over and over again. So if you're someone out there that is looking to get into tech or you're looking to go into business analysis as a career, I definitely recommend for you. I do have some videos on my channel a live session as well that you can check out. I also have one for product management. You can check out that as well. But we have mentioned, I think, 5 now. Do you have any more you want to mention?
Yeah, there's the cybersecurity as well. And, cybersecurity is wide. Oh my goodness, it's so wide. There are some technical components in cybersecurity, and there's some less technical components in cybersecurity. So you just need to understand yourself and your interests. If you want to do a little bit of technical, then you can look at the technical part. If you don't want to do like the technical part, then there's some other roles in cybersecurity that you can take on. There's also data analytics,
Yeah.
and some of those roles require you to be able to write, some of those jobs, careers require you to be able to write some codes, but some don't really require you to write codes. There's the customer success management, which is not very big here. There's technical sales, tech sales.
Tech sales, I know of tech sales, yeah.
Again, you just need to understand the solution and not so much the technicalities under the solution, the functionalities of the solution, so that you can sell it to the people who need. So there's so many roles.
And there's also tech recruiter as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So you're still in recruiting and HR and all of that, but you are just doing it for tech roles, which again, like you said, you don't need to understand the details of the technicalities, but would help if you have some knowledge, a little bit of knowledge about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. So now these roles that you have mentioned, are there any one of them that would require for you to have like maybe certifications or no certification required, or is it something that you can still start the career and get the certification along the way?
So number one, product management doesn't really require any certification. In fact, there are no certifications, there are no industry standard certifications for product management.
That's good.
The same for data analytics. There's some that require you to have certification so that your profile can look interesting, like project management, like business analysis, like Agile and Scrum. Now, this is my view about certification. It's not what's going to get you the job. Certifications teach you the what. You need to demonstrate the how. And for a lot of us that have experience outside of Canada, a lot of those experiences are very valid, very useful, but we didn't apply leading practices. Like, for example, if you've worked in Nigeria, you must have been involved in projects.
True.
They never call those things projects. Exactly. So when a recruiter here is asking you, have you created...
What projects have you worked on?
Exactly.
You said like, none.
But then when you look at the certification and the content of the certification, and you look at the definition of a project, you start saying to yourself, oh my goodness, if this is what a project is, then I was involved in that in Nigeria. Oh, I did that. When we're looking at some techniques in project management as part of, the PMP bootcamp, and then when I explain those techniques to someone, they're like, oh, is that what it is called? We used it before now, although we didn't use it the way that you described it, but we use it somehow like this. Also for those who have experience, because again, the recruiters here can't really assess your experience outside of here because they don't know MTN, for example. They don't know, all those companies. And if you come in here and you explain those experiences to them, you may not put it in a context that they will understand. So the PMP certification or the CBAP certification also give you like a framework or a guide that you can contextualize your experience in.
That's really good. Thank you very much for clarifying. You're so right about that. I also wanted to know, now that you've spoken about the certifications, I do know that before I transitioned to working as a business analyst, I never really had to take any certification. I just started to learn on my own. I actually self-learned. I self-study on YouTube, got a couple of resources online, and I started to interview for jobs. And thankfully, I was able to land a job. But down the line, I felt like I just needed something else to just help my profile stand out a bit more. And that was when I took the ITIL 4. I did TSM as well as CI. What's this certification for business analysis called? CBAP, yeah, CBAP. I did that one as well. I did all 3 of them. Honestly, to be honest, I didn't need to do all of them. I was just bored and idle. It was in the middle of COVID. I needed something to do with my time. And
Yeah.
I love to study, so that's why I went about doing all of that. But yeah, no job ever asked me for all of that. So if you're ever thinking about getting into any of these professions, to be honest, certifications are just nice to have, like you said. They are not particularly going to get you a job. It's the skill set that you have. How are you able to sell yourself to the hiring manager or the recruiter? That is what will make you stand out. And that brings me to a question for you. What tips do you have for anyone out there looking to get into any of these roles that you've mentioned in tech? How do they stand out in the job market that these days there isn't even any job out there, to be honest, but companies are still hiring every day. How would people separate themselves from the multitude out there? Do you have any
Um,
tips?
yeah, absolutely. If you're new in the country, if you're new in the role, you want to ensure that your resume is good. And like that's like your kind
Bare
of
minimum. Mm-hmm.
want to ensure that your resume, all of those tips, expand on your experience. Don't even be modest about your experience in your resume. Highlight all of those projects, all of those initiatives that you've worked on. That's number one. If you think that you need to level up on any skill, for example, you're trying to get into like business analysis, and yes, you've done some sort of business analysis work, but you think that you need to learn more. I would say like, get a training. Yeah, get a training from some person who really understands what they're doing. There are a lot of people who do training these days. Get a training. Mentoring is also very good. Get like a mentor, someone who is currently in that role that you're trying to get into, who works with people in that role. Get that person, and then join an association. Um, I know you're not trying to get a certification, but just get like, IIBA, just join IIBA's, for example, chapter in your local chapter. Network with people who are in that profession, ask them questions and all. And then of course, practice your interview very well.
You covered a lot of things because next thing I was going to ask was about networking as a newcomer in Canada, but you just pointed out a couple of them. And I think those are very helpful tips, apart from even just making sure your resume is great, because your resume will tell a story to whoever is trying to hire you. If you don't have a well-optimized resume, then you wouldn't even stand a chance, right? But also you've talked about all of these things like joining an association, getting training, getting mentorship. These are also things that will help you stand ahead and be different out there. I also want to know, what are your take on like self-studying and getting training professionally? What do you think?
Um, Self-studying is good. It will take you longer. Um, if you take a training from someone who is really good, they will teach you the concept. They'll bring in their years of experience. You'll be able to ask them questions. And also you will understand beyond the scope of whatever it is that you're reading or that you're studying for. You have like, classmates or participants in class, someone brings a questions to the class that you never thought of, but then the way the trainer explains it, add to your knowledge. The trainer explains a particular concept using an experience that they have, using a time where they worked on a project. You probably won't get a lot of that
If you're
in
self-studying.
most
Mhm.
likely reading. If you're watching like YouTube videos, that's probably easier. But then the experience of the trainer may not be as relatable to you. For example, if someone from, trying to be careful, if someone from the Middle East is training, they're going to use their experience in the Middle East. You probably can't relate with that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
um, while I believe, self-studying is good, I think that you can save some time if you attend on one condition, a very good training.
Good training. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
100%.
we don't know what they're doing, we don't know their left from their right.
100%. I have a lot to say about this, and I asked you first before I went into it because I have my own perspective as well. I personally self-studied. and I was able to land a high-paying job as a business analyst. But again, I do know that I am different, right? Everyone out there, you're funny. Everyone understands their capability. For me, the reason I chose to self-study wasn't even about the cost.
Mm,
The way I learn is quite different from a lot of other people. And
mm,
I learn at a different pace. For me, I
mm,
want to be able to control how quickly I can finish up things,
mm,
right? That was the reason why I decided to self-study. But I also know that there are people out there that they might be better off getting a professional training. I personally always recommend everyone should get mentorship. Mentorship is very important. Training, I don't know, it's this or that. But mentorship is very, very important. So getting mentorship helped me despite the fact that I self-studied, right? So that's one. Then secondly, I also want to point out that for some people, it might be better for you to start off with self-studying just so you have an understanding of
mhm.
what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people just hear business analysis, project management. They don't know what it feels like, what the details is all about. So if you
Mm,
decide to just go ahead and get like professional training now, then you pay this money or you start this course, and after 1 month or 2 months, you realize, oh, this is really not what I want to be doing. Then by then it's too late for you, right? It might not be too late because you can let go of it and start afresh with something else. But I would say take some time to be intentional about just learning even the basics on your own. Then when you learn the basics, it can help you decide, okay, do I really want to do project management or do I want to do product management?
mhm.
Do I really want to be a business analyst or do I like to do more of data analysis, right? So it would help you understand in details what the day-to-day would look like, what you might have to deal with at work, and also what potential is out there for you. That's also another thing that I wanted to make sure to point out. But thank you very much for clarifying it. And I do know that you have a training institution, which you have not even spoken about. What do you do as Stacey and Lloyd? Tell me about it.
So Station Lloyd is a private practice for consulting. So, I give you like the history. Station Lloyd used to be consulting, advisory, and academy.
Mm,
The consulting and advisory cater to corporate organizations, and all of those things. And then the academy does both public and then private. But then we
I think
re
I made a mistake. I wanted to ask you about Sixdots, not Stacey and Lloyd.
right, right. Thank you.
Sorry
Absolutely.
about that. So let's talk about Sixdots.
Yes. So Six Dot is a home for growth and transformation, career and idea growth and transformation. At Six Dot, we want to ensure that every individual within their career live their full potential. That's our vision.
Wow, I love that.
Yes. For example, I know that I can be a senior project manager, but I'm currently a junior project manager. At Sixdots, we want to try and see how we can support you, empower you to be able to transform your career from being just a junior project manager to that senior project manager that you can potentially be. And how do we do that? We have three pillars. We have the skill set, like trainings if you need and all of those things. We have the tool set. So we have a vibrant community of professionals, like-minded professionals that will plug you into, and then the mindset. So we have partnered with some organizations that help us in rejigging the mindset of individuals. So that's what we do. A lot of people come in for the community and then the training, because just as you said, if you're trying to get into a new career, you need to learn about that career. You get what I mean? And then after that learning, there's that mentorship, there's that, community that you also need to continue to leverage. And then we provide that as well.
Oh wow, you cover a lot of things. I like that it's not just about training solutions. You also include having a community because sometimes at your day-to-day job, you just face some of these challenges that you don't know how to navigate. But if you have a professional network of people that does similar things or same thing that you do in your career, you can get help from them. You can get support from them. You can easily ask questions and see who can help you with what, right? So I really like that the community aspect of things is there. And also for us as immigrants here, we do need a community to help us settle in, to even feel confident in our day-to-day life, in our job, in our career, in the future prospect or potential that we're also pursuing. So I really like that there's a community aspect of it and not just training solutions. But I also want to ask you, because you're in this space, what
Yes.
do you think about this recent massive layoff in tech? Is it still what's going into tech right now? Because I know some people are even debating. People, like I said earlier, people are even de-influencing tech and trying to discourage people from getting into tech, not because of their own selfish reason, nothing of such, but because they've seen people that do this tech transition, they get into tech and cannot find a job. And even when they find a job, some companies are laying off we've been hearing about this huge tech layoff in the last 1 year, and it's something that is probably going to continue until the economy fully stabilizes. So what do you think? Is there still hope? Is there still a need for people to still even get into tech? What are the potential? How can they be different? What are the opportunities? What do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah. I will be as real as
Yes,
possible.
please be real.
The market, not just tech, the market is stressed right now.
True.
Market is stressed. Um, Organizations don't have deep pocket anymore, but they still have those needs. They still have those services that they're providing for their customers, for their clients. And because they don't have deep pockets, they're undergoing a lot of budget cuts. Now, the budget cut will warrant them to let go of some people, but those letting go will also bring about opportunities for new roles. Let me give you a classical example, and I'm free to say this because there was no NDA. So last year, I worked on an engagement for a client. They had a mandate to cut down their budget by some percentage, 25%. So they brought us in to help them to understand and create a minimum viable structure. With this 25% budget cut and this volume of work that we need to do, what should be the staffing or the structure of the staffing look like? That's what it brought. So we got into the organization, we looked at the people that they currently have, their roles, their function, their skill sets. And then our recommendation was, okay, let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people go, and then try and hire 4 people that can do this 10 guys' job. For example, if you have a business analyst, and if you have a project manager, and if you have a scrum master, is it possible for us to get someone who is both a project manager and a scrum master? Yes. Do we have anybody on your team right now that can do both? No. So let those guys go and then hire someone that will be both a project manager and a
And a
scrum.
scrum master.
Hire someone who will be both project manager and business analyst. So while the layoff is there, there's still opportunities for other people. And this is what I say to folks. This stress that the market is facing requires you to do more than just the barest minimum. Requires to upskill, just so that you can explore those opportunities. But I feel that it's just a matter of time. It's not tech alone. Banks,
Other industries, true.
I mean, at the time it was oil and gas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, people are saying tech because the world is digital. The world is leveraging technology. And that's why it feels like, the tech space. But there's so many others. Real estate, stress. Real estate is stressed big time. But there's still opportunities. You're hearing layoffs and you're also seeing some hiring.
True. Thank you very much for that. I know that now that we have artificial intelligence, robotics, and all of that, the way people are still going to lose even more jobs. I know you talked about companies condensing these roles and all of that, but with the introduction of AI, some jobs will still be lost. So what do you think about how can people still protect their jobs despite the introduction and the growth of AI? Because it's growing at a very fast pace.
Yeah. I mean, artificial intelligence has come to stay. It's been around for a while, it's come to stay. As professionals, we just need to master the tool and know how we can use it to make our work easier. A company will say, project manager, we don't need you because there's AI. But guess what? They're still going to need one person who is going to prompt the AI or the tool, ChatGPT, whatever it is, who's going to prompt that ChatGPT, to be able to give them what they want. So what that means is you will lose your job if you have not mastered the art and the usage of that tool.
Yeah, true.
The people who know how to use the tool will maintain their job. They'll just make it easier, but they will still require them to use the tool to be able to give them whatever it is that they want.
So true. I always say this because I'm a content creator, right? We all know this. I always say this to other creators that people that are not leveraging the use of AI right now, they would lose their space to those that are leveraging it, right? It's not because, like, yeah, you shouldn't let AI do everything for you, but you can take advantage of the fact that it's there for you to use.
Yeah.
Make your job easier, right? Instead of just doing everything from scratch, stressing out yourself, causing yourself burnout. If you have this tool there, just use it. Unlike just saying that, hey, I don't want to use it, I don't want to sound robotic, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Just take advantage of get what you can take from it, get that out, and make it your own, right? You can't say you're not going to use AI because, oh, this and that. There's so many negativity about it, but you can make it your own. You can literally train this AI these days to do things for you the way you want it, right? Instead of just saying that, oh, you neglect it altogether. Your position, your jobs, your career, whatever it is, you'll be replaced by those that use AI, not the AI itself. So if
Exactly.
for anyone watching this out there, if you're thinking that, hey, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, dear, my dear, I'm telling you, this is me telling you to go ahead and use it. Not to depend on it 100%, but use it to save yourself time, use it to save yourself stress, use it for whatever reason you can, use it to help yourself. There was a time I was writing a query at work, a VBA code. I was writing this query for Excel and trying to run it. And for some reason, it worked before, but somehow it broke or something. I didn't know what was going on. I spent more than 3 hours trying to figure out what the problem is. And also, at work, you're doing this, you're doing that. So you're not even able to give it your 100% attention to resolve the problem. Eventually, I just asked myself, wait, why didn't I just chat GPT this thing?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Then I eventually did, and in less than 2 minutes, I promise you, the whole thing was fixed. I was so pissed at myself that I had this there the whole time, and I was battling, spending so many hours trying to figure this out. And I could have just done this in 2 minutes. In
Mm,
2 minutes. Now
mm,
imagine if eventually I didn't end up resulting to that. One, I could have saved 3 hours, granted. If I didn't eventually result to that, maybe I would have not been able to deliver that task on time. If
yeah,
someone else on my team had just used ChatGPT to solve the problem, they
yeah,
seem to be more outstanding than me. They seem to be more knowledgeable than me. They seem to be more productive and more hands-on than me. Then I'll be out here busting my ass, spending my time, wasting everything and not being productive. And I would feel overwhelmed because I feel like I'm actually trying my best. But my
mm,
best is not enough because I'm not I'm not maximizing my productivity by using
yeah,
technology, right? Technology is there to make life easier, not to make your life harder. So if you are anyone out there, you have not found out or figured out how to use AI, take advantage of it. And these days, there are so many roles that are even springing up just because of the use of AI and technology right now. So if that's something that is your vibe, take some time to do some research and see how you can implement AI in your job. And I also know we have people leaving questions below. So if you're yet to leave your own questions, please feel free to leave your questions in chat. We're going to take them really soon. But I still have a question for you, Bola. So we talked about people getting jobs and their networking, finding jobs as a newcomer, reinventing their career. Can you talk a little bit on like some challenges that you feel like immigrants find when they are trying to get a job? How are they not applying the right way? Where can they actually get the right job, or how can they position themselves properly to land these roles that they want?
mm. I think the biggest, if you ask anyone, based off of my interaction with folks, is the fact that uh, organizations, recruiters see that they don't have local experience. And because they don't have local experience, what you typically will call the Canadian experience, they don't want to invite them for interview. They don't even want to hear them and all of those things. A way that people have been able to bridge that gap is to do some volunteering with a local organization. For example, you've worked in all those fine places, in Ghana or in Jamaica. I don't know those places. I can't even go and ask someone, and all of those things. I'm not even sure if those places are as standard as, my organization. So I don't feel comfortable bringing you in, number one. Number two, the culture as well is kind of different here than where you're coming in from. But if I see that you've done anything with a local organization, then I feel a little more comfortable, inviting you. So getting volunteering is one good. Certification is also very good. At least it helps them to understand that, a global organization has assessed your knowledge and they feel like, yes, you have the required knowledge for business analysis, project management, and all of those things. Number three is trying to also quantify your experience in a way that they can relate with. I'll give you an example. You worked in First Bank, for example, in Nigeria. They don't know First Bank, but if you can quantify First Bank by saying, oh, a bank with, 1 million clients, 5 billion asset under management, X, Y, and Z, that will also help them to at least understand your experience and then get you in. So that's number one. Number two is interviewing. A lot of us don't do a lot of storytelling when we're interviewing. We don't magnify our experience. We don't quantify our experience. And as such, the recruiter or the hiring manager feels that we're not qualified enough, or maybe even just overqualified for the role. So telling the right story, making them understand what the experience is like, I think those are the things that I will say.
So I guess at Sixdots, this would be one of the things you do to help people refine the skill set that they have from back home or maybe their experience to fit it into finding their dream job, quote unquote, in Canada. Would that be part of what you do?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. And that's really good to know because I find that you're right. A lot of companies are thinking, oh, you don't have the skill set or experience here, and people actually do believe they don't have the skill set because they've never worked in Canada. So, but if you have someone that can help you translate that experience that you have from back home
Yeah.
into an experience that you can utilize here,
Yeah.
then maybe you would stand a chance compared to others. Do you have any recommendations on where people can actually find or apply for jobs these days, apart from the regular LinkedIn that everybody knows?
Yeah. Those agencies also, those recruitment agencies or recruiting agencies also work. But I think, from your networking, if, for example, I work in Deloitte, for example, and I know someone who connect with me and say, hey, Bola, I'm looking for, a BA role or a PM role. Do you guys have anything in Deloitte? If I say something, I send it to you. Those roles may not even make it to LinkedIn or Indeed or any of those job boards. So while you still use those guys, but referral, networking, connections, I think those are like really good ways that you can get into the organization to understand what they're hiring for. And those agencies also, I will still maintain those agencies.
Recruiters, yeah, they work a lot, yeah.
Yeah, they're also very good.
Okay, true. True. I think people underutilize LinkedIn when it comes to job search. They feel like when you just see a job posting, just apply for it and that's it. It ends there. I feel like there's so many other ways that you can leverage LinkedIn when you're looking for a job. I'll mention two, and maybe you can also mention any of the ones that you have.
Mhm.
One would be to reach out to the headhunter for the job. When you
Yes.
see a job posting, you might be able to see who posted that job. You can make an introduction to them, send them a message. And with LinkedIn, you only get one chance to send them a message, especially if you're not connected with them. So you want to make sure you're leveraging that chance as good as you can.
Mhm.
right? So make sure you compose your message. Try to send a very strong message to introduce yourself to the hiring manager or the headhunter and let them know that, oh, you're interested in this job and you've submitted an application. This is why you're different from everyone else. And once you send that, yeah, fingers crossed, hopefully they would be able to see the message and your name will stick out. And if you have a solid LinkedIn profile that is well optimized, it would also help you um come off like when they take a look at your resume, it will help you stand out from everyone else because now your profile is saying something, your application is saying something, and they can say, oh yeah, this person also sent me a message. This person is taking extra steps to be different from everyone else that has just applied for this role. Then the second tip would be to get referral from people on LinkedIn. So if you see that there is a job listing somewhere that you're looking to apply for, try to connect with people that are working in the organization and see if you can ask them um for a referral. And one thing I want to point out is because I told people to do this, I think I made a video about job search and I pointed this out and someone was saying they got called out by doing that. And I was asking further questions like, how did you go about it? If you're trying to ask someone for referral, you need to try to nurture a relationship.
Yes.
This person doesn't owe you anything. You cannot just send somebody a message on LinkedIn that, for example, maybe they're working in what company, RBC, and you just send them a message, hey, I'm applying for this job in RBC. Can you give me a referral? Can you tell
Mm.
me why that person would give you a referral? They don't know you, they don't owe you anything. But if you've connected with them for a while, you've tried to engage their posts, you've even tried to send them a message just to say, hey, I'm currently in your industry. This is what I do. I'm just connecting with people doing this and that and building my network. Once you
Mhm.
say that in the beginning, then you guys start to chat. Oh, what challenges are you having at work right now? What's different? What's new? You just try to build a relationship. Try to actually show that you care about them, then you can ask for a referral. Now, I know that you might be thinking, hey, what if the job posting has closed? Then just apply for the job normally. But most companies will still have another opening later on. And if you know that you are not desperately looking for a job right now, maybe you're transitioning, you still have some time, right? So try to connect with more people in the industry, in the fields, in the companies that you're looking to work in. Build a relationship, attend networking events, and no, don't just attend networking events for the sake of it. Try to have conversation, try to keep in touch. I find that in Canada, people meet one another and they don't stay connected. You just say, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And the next time you meet them, it's like you guys are strangers again because you didn't keep the relationship, you didn't keep the connection. Then now you can ask for help, right? But if you have been able to create that connection, maintain the communication, be intentional, right? When you're able to do that, it would help you stand out. When you now eventually ask that, hey, can I get a referral from your company? They will be willing to help you more than if you just cold pitch or just send them a random message from one afternoon when their boss is on on their neck, right? You want to make sure that you're building a relationship first before asking for any favors. I just wanted to point out those two things. Do you have any other thing to add?
You're right on all of those things. The way that you send that message when you're asking for a referral is very important. Your approach to that connection also is very important. Now, I'm going to just speak on the connection itself. There are three kinds of people that you should connect with and you should build, in quote, relationship with. The people who currently work in the role that you are trying to get into. I'm trying to get into business analysis. I connect with business analysts and I just chat with them, generally like, oh, how are things? What are the top two skills that you use, X, Y, Z. The second category of people that you should connect with are the managers of business analysts, the people that the business analysts report to directly. Those are the guys that can tell you what they look out for when they're hiring business analysts. And then the key decision makers, like the C-level guys, XYZ in an organization. Again, you may not be able to build that kind of rapport every day with them, but you should still connect with them anyways. And of course, the recruiters. Um, it's tiring, but make sure that when you're applying, your resume is customized. You won't believe how tiring this can be and how people just use one resume for every role. Make sure it's as close to the job that you're applying for as possible. Yeah, I know it's tiring. I know you can spend 1 hour, but would you rather spend 1 hour and get a call than spend just 10 minutes and nothing happens? Make it
True.
as if I'm looking for a flight where I can, sleep, and you are saying, I have a plane, and you're not showing me that I can sleep, I'm not going to buy it. That's the same thing with, job application. I'm looking for a business analyst who's worked on ERP, who understands requirement gathering. And you're saying I'm a business analyst, I've worked on some projects. Some project is not ERP.
Yeah. And to be more
Uh,
specific.
you get what I mean? I'm looking for someone who has worked in payment. I say I'm a business analyst. I've worked in financial services. That's super generic. Financial services, specifically payment. Yeah.
That's very significant. And I'm so glad you touched on this because a lot of people, when they are trying to apply for jobs, they focus more on the numbers. I know job search is a numbers game, but also the quality of the resume that you put out there would make a difference. It will sell you. Remember, when you're applying for a job, these people don't know you. They can't see you. What they see is your resume. Now think about it as the first thing you're putting out there to sell yourself.
Mhm.
Would you be convinced to hire yourself when you see that resume? And let's take off bias here. One time I was reviewing resume for someone and I looked at it, I was like, I'm sorry to say this to you, but if I were the hiring manager, I would not even hire you. I would not even invite you for an interview. That was really cold to hear, right? But it's just the truth because this resume doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
This is the job application you're going for. This is what you are sending.
Mm.
No, there is no reason why I would even consider you. And we have to think about the fact that this same role that you're applying for, there are multitude of people that are also applying for the same role. So how are you different from everyone else? You need
Mhm.
to do something extra. And that's why I think we've pointed out several strategies that you can use with your job search, getting referrals, reaching out to the headhunter, making sure your resume is custom for the role, making sure you're adding metrics, making sure that your LinkedIn profile is optimized. We've talked about all of these things. But again, you have to be intentional with your job search. You can't just apply for like just any job you see, just keep sending your resume and not customizing the resume for the job. You will just keep applying into forever.
Yeah. You
We have
know,
go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
just buttresses. Someone reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, "Oh, I saw this role in Deloitte. It wasn't Deloitte. And oh yeah, sure. It's even in my practice. Send me your resume. I can put it in." And they sent me the resume. I'm like, ah man, I cannot send this resume. I like you, I want to, but I can't because it's not going to get
Call
anywhere.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't get anywhere. In fact, the practice hiring manager is going to start looking at me like, does this
Is
guy
this
even?
the people in your network? Like, did you even take a look at it? What kind of people are you recommending to me?
Yeah. So take that first step of getting it ready for the job that you're
So,
trying.
yeah. So true. So true. Thank you very much. We do have a question here, and we're going to wrap it up soon. Where can you suggest we get pro tips to get better in tech? This person currently uses Udemy, and the courses are not in depth enough.
Yeah. Um, so I'm not going to talk about Udemy because I want to be respectful of the brand. Um, I think that there's some providers of specific, topics and
Courses.
career and courses that are really good. Those guys will give you better knowledge and experience. In fact, you should probably look for a course that has a practical hands-on component to it where you get to work on like a real life project. Make sure that the trainer works in that space. Make sure that the trainer understands what they're doing. Don't worry about all these things that they say. Research the trainer. And I think you'll find better value in that and some of the Udemy
or
courses.
online courses in general. I think you're so right about that. Most of these online courses, except the ones that is created by the person that has done that job, if it's just someone that is in tech, they'll give you something brief. They would not be in depth. I think those courses are not intended to help you land a job or help you become that profession. I think the intention, like we said, is in terms of people that are looking to self-study to get just like a basic knowledge about what the job looks like or what the job entails. You would get that from courses like that. But however, if you're looking to pursue an actual career or profession in these industries, in any of this that we've mentioned or any other ones, you might have to get an actual training. And training might be live, virtual, in person, whatever, recorded, anyhow. But it has to be a training provided by someone that has actually done, or maybe an organization as well. It's not only going to be by an individual. It could also be an organization that whoever is taking that courses or training, they have actually worked in those professions that you are applying for. Otherwise, it might just not give you the kind of results that you're looking for.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of the organizations that we have is Sixdots. So now you're going to tell us about Sixdots. I know
Yes.
you introduced it, but I just want us to wrap up this session with the opportunities or courses or programs that you have opened right now. Are they cohort based? What kind of systems are you running? How can people find out more about Sixdots? How can people find out more about you? Because we've talked about the fact that you have to make sure whoever it is you're getting the training from have worked in that profession. So we want to make sure that they're getting real value.
Yes. So our website is six dots
Yeah, I
dot.
put it in chat. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Sixdot.io. We have some programs that are starting in July because we want to make the second half of the year better than the first half for a lot of people. We have PMP Bootcamp. That's a certification-based one, but we don't even just teach certification. We also have a capstone project that is embedded in that program. That's going to start July 3rd, I believe. And then there's a CBAP certification that's going to start. Now, if you want to be a business analyst, trust me, a 2-hour recorded,
Udemy course.
it's not going to do it for you. No, it's not.
True.
It's
True.
not. We have a program called the Business Analysis Immersion Program. It's 10 weeks. 10 weeks. We cover the basics. We teach the tools like Figma, like Visio, like Miro, like Balsamic, all the tools that you will find business analysts use. We give all the participants access, license, we teach the tools, and then we put them on a real life project, not capstone project, not assignment kind of project, real life project. They work with our developers and they build like a platform or a website or a mobile app. That's called Business Analysis Immersion Program. You can check the website. We also have another one for Agile, like Agile, Scrum, Kanban. That's 8 weeks, every day, Monday to Saturday for 8 weeks. Nothing like that. Again, by the end of that program, you will have understood what Agile and Scrum and Kanban is. You'll have used all the tools like Jira, like Confluence, like Miro, like Trello. You also work on a real life project and play the role of a Scrum Master, a product owner, and we also have product management. So we have a lot of courses, and those courses are designed to make you better in the role that you're going to get, not just to give you awareness or information.
Basic knowledge
Is to actually prepare you
for
to
job search.
transform, make you job ready.
That's really good. I love that because I want people to know that when they are getting any of these trainings, they are not just going from having basic knowledge to, oh yeah, now that I have the knowledge, what's next? I want them to go from having that knowledge to straight into getting an actual job, straight into applying for jobs and being ready for the job market. Not like, oh, now I'm done with this. I need to start learning tools that I may have to use at work, right? So I'm really, really glad you touched on that. Thank you very much for clarifying it. I put the link of Sixdots in chat. It's also in the description for those watching the recording. But I do want to thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and insight on all of these topics. Yeah, I know it's Sunday afternoon and I want you to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you very much to everyone that was able to join from everywhere in the world, in Canada, in Nigeria, Toronto, Halifax, everywhere else. Thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate you for joining. If you have any questions, if you're watching the recording or after now, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Bola will be responding to them, or I would also take some of your questions. Thank you very much for your time and yeah, take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.